Blue Lock Chapter 350 has just released. The Japan locker room questions what ego truly is as Ego himself intervenes to answer the question. Many players share their thoughts, and we even see players oppose Ego, with him absolutely crashing out for the first time in forever. A quick note though, this chapter does have some unfinished panels like what we saw in the France game due to Nomura being sick. But honestly, I don't even mind, and we hope for a fast recovery for him. Not even exaggerating, this is genuinely one of the most insane chapters I've seen. Everyone in the community is talking about the huge revelation at the end of the chapter, so let's not waste any more time and jump into it quick. The chapter picks up right where we left off, with Isagi asking what even is ego, Shido and Rin looking absolutely bamboozled, and then other players jumping into the conversation. Nanase says he's got a point and that it's a pretty vague concept. Hiyori asks what is it, and Bachara raises his hand saying he knows, which is a telltale sign Bachara is about to say some BS. He then points his fingers to his head in classic Bachara fashion, saying it's the monster inside of you, right? Yeah, we expected that answer coming from Bachara. Chigiri then says he's too based in feeling. He thought it was more like your essential self. So not a bad response from Chigiri, and Ryo adds he thought it was something a bit more self-centered, the self portion of yourself. Yukimiya adds in saying he gets that it has a nuance of selfishly disregarding others. Gagamaru agrees with Chigiri, and Atoya says same here. He doesn't think hurting others is what ego's all about. So as you can see by the first 2 pages, this chapter will be a yap chapter. He's talking, you're talking, everybody's talking. But so far, it's pretty interesting with everyone's different definitions. And this is exactly what Isagi points out, that everyone has their own different interpretations of what ego is. And that's why Blue Lock is in trouble now. If they can get an agreement about what it means to be the world's top egoist, the way for them to fight will become clear. Bachara agrees, saying that makes sense, and Aiku says okay too, they should try exactly that. But in the corner of the page, a text box appears with someone telling Isagi that's a good plan. And that's when Ego walks in alongside Henri, and I have a bad feeling about this, y'all. This is giving the same vibe as Gojo arrives. I don't know where Henri and Ego wandered off to, if he was preparing the belt, but he's finally here. Loki would have been so confused if a chapter titled Ego had no Ego Jinpachi in it. Sendo makes his appearance for like the first time in this arc, and Ego explains his own definition that it refers to the playstyle of one's life, clarifying that's how he defines it. The rest of the Blue Lockers, including Ryo, Barou, Chigiri, Kunigami, and Corona, are listening while Ego says humans are social creatures. In a multitude of ways, they cannot survive without human connection. It's been a while since we got an Ego explanation, so I'm all ears listening, and he pulls out the graphics, saying, in other words, from the first time we're first aware, they subconsciously seek out ways to be involved with the world, with the Pentagon guy showing examples of parents, friends, school, and work. Ego states that this is the start of the game known as life, as people navigate reality and their ideals through trial and error, establishing a sense of self. The Pentagon guy then shows the words environment, talent, mindset, and appearance. Then we get a flashback of Chigiri in the first selection, Bachara in the second selection, Kunigami out of the wild card, Barou from second selection, Yukimiya's goal, and Hiyori's pass. That flashback was a blast from the past, but Ego dialogues over these, saying, what do you celebrate or rage against? What do you mourn? What do you believe in? These choices are how you play your game of life, and the evaluation standard for all these decisions is ego. We get a beautiful double spread of ego with an egoism compass while he's talking about all of it. And I don't even have anything to say. I'm just listening like a good boy right now. I mean, what? Sendo then jumps in saying he gets it, and Atoya says it's like your heart's compass. Yukimiya hits the hand on chin thinking pose, saying it's true how he feels like his performance improves when his ego is aligned with his own playstyle. Hiyori then makes a realization, saying everything they've been taught so far, like flow, originality, and hunger, we're just forcing them to face their own egos. And Ego himself says bingo, the world's top egoist means the one who lives with a playstyle most suitable for being the best in the world. And that's a big revelation, folks. Looks like by Jinpachi Ego standard, that's what truly defines a top egoist, with Aiku smiling, saying anyone without such a grandiose compass is useless. And Isagi adds in, saying in that case, he is right. He then gets a call back to his luck battle with Hugo and says this side of himself he found in the battle with Hugo, his playstyle as the rebel who devours the #1 player, is his ego's compass. And we are learning a lot here, folks. So looks like this rebellion state we saw in the France game is the key to Isagi's next awakening. And I mean, it did work against Hugo. And if that also means we see more of white hair Isagi, I'm excited to see what Isagi cooks up. Because this design, you could put it in a damn museum. This coloring by Nomura is straight Picasso-esque, drawing straight fire. Isagi continues that if he keeps honing this rebel playstyle and storms his way into becoming the world's best striker, then he can still, but his thoughts get cut off as we see Karasu's back and a blacked out text box as he calls out Ego Jinpachi, saying, "We lost to France because of your theory." Oh my god. Grab your popcorn, folks. The yapping chapter just turned into a heated debate. This is what we've been waiting for. Karasu actually called out Ego. This cannot end well. Karasu tells him that Isagi and Rin followed their own egos, which made them collapse and botch the shot, adding that there is no reality where they can win all trying to be the world's best egoists. Ego is just listening to Karasu, and he reaches out his hand saying, to be honest, some of them here are starting to doubt his methods. Can they really trust BLUELOCK? Is he actually right? Tell him, coach, at this rate, can they really become the best in the world? The rest of the players are listening intently too, and as we wait for Ego's answer, he just stares on in silence. Then out of nowhere, he bursts out laughing at the top of his lungs. Yo, just look at this maniacal laugh, and the unfinished panel just adds to the craziness. I don't even know what to say. Seeing Ego laugh is the equivalent of seeing a Batman laugh. It doesn't fit him, and it's damn scary to see him like that. This got me shook, and the whole house shook too, because we see Sendo get so spooked, bro puts up his hands like he gotta protect himself. As he continues to laugh like villains in One Piece, we see Isagi, Rin, and Shido as he announces to not make him laugh, bringing up trust or right. Those things don't matter. And then he hunches over with his hands out and everything, saying BLUELOCK is an experiment to create the world's best striker. Everyone else's lives will be ruined. All of them agreed to that insane plan. So what use is sanity now? Ryo looks like he's seen Nagi get eliminated again. Nanase and Hiyori also look on in disbelief as he says sanity can buy security, but it can't buy dreams. In other words, they have to take risks. And then Ego is shown on top of all of the corpses as he reminds them his madness feels theirs and their madness feels his. That's how BLUELOCK made it this far. Ego then smiles, saying if they doubt him, then they can lock off. Yo, Ego lost his marbles, dog. But on a real note, Ego's talking only in IG captions. Everything he says is so damn cold, because what do you mean by my madness feels yours and your madness feels mine? But just when we thought the crash out ends there, Ego tells them it seems they don't understand why they lost to France. The main reason wasn't a strategic answer or the enemy's strength, as Ego slams his fist into the BLUELOCK monitor. What the hell? Bro just pulled out the United States of Smash on the monitor. I ain't never seen this before. At this point, I'm scared. There are even veins popping out in bro's neck, so you know he was putting his full strength into this. Ego tells them the reason why they lost was because some of them on that field didn't believe they could become the world's best. And take a gander at Isagi's face. This is hitting home for him. We then see the result of Ego doing a damn all-might punch on the monitor being broken. Chigiri, Aryu, and Nico look on scared, and damn, if my coach did that too, I would have no words. What do you even do in that situation? Then Ego says we're supposed to be creating the world's best striker, and they're in this mess in the first place because they're looking for other ways to live, with Ego then having the blacked out text box saying you're doubting him. What about their own egos, calling them trash? Okay, episode 1 Ego came out for a little there, I cannot lie, but I do get what Ego is saying. How is his method supposed to work when they were the ones who didn't execute on it? As all the players are listening and looking at him, he starts to walk away, saying, as a small mercy, this is just the group league. There is still a path to victory. Ego waves his hands towards the blue lockers with blood still all over it, hitting the Gary Oak classic, and says that's enough for this bad day. Go cool their heads, lumps of talents. Let's face tomorrow with a brand new kind of madness. Barou looks on, Bachra is surprised, and Shido is damn smiling hearing Ego say all of this. But before Ego can leave, Isagi tells Ego, in that case, please leave me out of the next match. Henri, hearing this, looks towards Isagi and says, huh? Mad confused. Bachra just says his name, and Isagi clarifies that it's like he said. There was a point where he lost sight of trying to become number 1, and that's why the team fell apart. The way they've been doing things is no good. Isagi gets flashbacks of Hugo during the France game while saying this, and Isagi tells him that it's time for BLUELOCK to be reborn. Please leave him out this time. Bring your hands together for Isagi trying to take accountability. I won't lie, I've said it before, there is definitely players who did worse than you in this match though. As Ego hears this, he ponders on the word reborn, saying yeah, he plans on making that gamble, and then adds that Isagi isn't the one being left out, as he is shocked to hear this. Ego then pushes up his glasses and says the one who is out is Rin, as we see him already on a bench hearing this. Welp, it's time for me to pack my bags. Brother, the slander that's coming, and is already here to be honest, will be generational. The number one of BLUELOCK is on the bench, and it's common knowledge that Rin is my GOAT, my favorite character, so y'all had a field day of letting me know what he's doing right now. People were treating this like a damn holiday, as a live Fortnite event. In fact, people were calling this the best chapter of all time. I ain't ever seen people this happy for their own birthdays, for Christmas, for their marriages. But Rin getting benched, that's grounds for them to celebrate. And I could shed a tear because you're telling me he went from a ghosting the whole match to turning into a yandere tsundere and then a bush camping Isagi shot, selling the game and then getting benched. No! What have they done to you, my go? It's all fading, man. McQueen is fading. They turned a water Rin into water boy. At this point, all I can do is accept it and prepare myself for the comment section and the endless Rin slander. I trust my GOAT will have his time once again. The sun will shine again. As Ego clarifies that it's Itoshi Rin being benched, Rin looks absolutely pissed with veins popping out and everything. The reasoning behind the sub is left for another day though, as the chapter ends off there. And for my next magic trick, I will be disappearing until the Rin slander is over. But anyways, this chapter was a generational one for the community. I would argue the benched Rin slander is up there with the top BLUELOCK slanders of all time, like Nagi being eliminated or Kaiser missing. Thank you so much, my dear viewers, too, because I can already predict 90% of comments will be exactly that. In fact, I had over 100 Discord notifications on Rin slander alone. That is kind of crazy, but honestly, it's all fun in games. I had it coming. Rin had it coming with that performance. He's still my GOAT no matter what, though. I mean, I can't even defend this. When they're slandering your GOAT, but they're low-key right. I know as a Rin fan, it's gonna be a tough time for these next few weeks, and just the England game in general, but let's talk about what this means for the future. Now, even though Rin is my favorite character, I knew he was gonna get benched. In fact, I was scripting a starting 11 video before this chapter came out, and he wasn't on that lineup. It was just a matter of time, which means going into the England game, the formation is going to be completely different, and even Ego said to Isagi that BLUELOCK's team is about to be reborn. Straight out of the gate, there's a lot of narrative points that Kaneshiro has been hinting towards. We obviously haven't seen Shido score, so that's most likely coming. Yukimiya also hasn't played, Kunigami hasn't played as a forward, and Shigiri hasn't played on his left side where he's good at. I think these are aspects we'll probably see in the England game. I am a believer in the Nagi subbing in mid-game theory, so he'll probably appear later down the line, especially because Nagi's side B development in the chapter before was about him being reborn. As for my starting 11, I don't want to spoil it because I'm making a video later on this week on what I think it will be now that we're excluding Rin. And to add a little bit more on Rin's character getting benched, this will be important for his development later on. I know everyone's clowning on him, but it's just set up for him to become even better. Because that France game, he sold that match. It wasn't him following Ego's philosophy, it was his own instincts, something that Ego tried to fix through his 45-day training. He just relapsed, fell back on that, tried to go after Isagi once again, and it costed them the tie. So I think Ego will address that in the next chapter as well, as he explains the reasoning behind benching him. Next chapter title is called Ego Traits, and now like I said, he'll explain in depth about the sub and Rin's ego and what he needs to do to fix it, as well as I think next chapter will finally tease us on the England team and their new Gen 11 players, setting us up for the match that settles it all. Anyways, be on the lookout for that starting 11 video as it includes a lot of England predictions. I'm super excited for what's next. BLUELOCK is dropping a bombshell after bombshell with that France game into side B, into Rin being subbed, and now we're getting the England game. Leave your thoughts down below on this chapter. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it your favorite chapter in existence because Rin got benched? YouTube really thinks you'd like this video right here, so be sure to check that one out too. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.